Hi everyone, in this video I will be reacting to 41 minutes of building a gaming PC with no talking, but this time I will talk and I will talk a lot. This is a 2-hour training for tips on how to build your first computer, and in this video I will be explaining step by step, part by part, what I did and why I did it. And for those of you who are new to the channel and you have no idea who I am, my name is Rafael, I'm 34 years old, and I work as a PC builder in a local computer shop. I really think you will enjoy this training, and of course if you have any questions, I invite you to chat with me in the comment section down below. So without further ado, let's get it started. As you can see here in the first shot in the video, what I did is I laid out all the parts, and you can see the case, you can see the power supply, the graphic card, I have the RAM over here, I have the M.2 SSD, I have the motherboard, I have the cooler. I think inside the motherboard box I also have the CPU. But as you can see, I also brought some tools with me. So I have a pair of pliers. This is to cut the zip ties. I have, how does it called? Precision screwdriver, I think. Yes, the small screwdriver. It doesn't really matter if you use a precision screwdriver or any other screwdriver. You can see I also have a power drill over here. This is just something that I'm used to work with, but you don't have to use a power drill. I actually recommend you not to use a power drill. Just use any regular screwdriver. It's actually better to build without power tools, especially if it's your first build. So yeah, that's a tip for you as well. And also I bring a small cup. This is just for all the screws. Make sure I don't lose them. But yeah, you can see what I do over here. I actually start with the motherboard. I take it out. I think over here you can see also this is the CPU right here under my right hand. And it's good practice to take the motherboard out of the box. And you can see I flipped the box with the opening side to the left, I guess, or to the right, depends how you look on it. But what I did here, I took the motherboard, I put the protective bag inside. This bag, some people like to put the motherboard on that bag, and this bag actually does transfer electrostatic discharge, so it actually can short a motherboard. And it's actually not good to put a motherboard on this baggie. This baggie is more to protect the motherboard, so it won't get scratches and stuff like that in shipment. But you don't really want to use this bag to put a motherboard on it and like assemble parts and stuff. So yeah, I put the bag inside the box. I put the motherboard, and you will see that the way that I orient the box is kind of important. You don't have to do it. It's something that is just a little bit more convenient for me. But what I did is I put the motherboard with the ports facing towards my left side. And the opening of the box is on my right side, right? So I have the motherboard like right in front of me. And then I have the opening of the box over here, and you will see why it is kind of important, but not really. You don't really have to do this way. This is just for me that it will be easier to put stuff in the box that are spare parts and spare stuff. And the reason why I put it on the right side and not on the left, for example, is just because it is more convenient to grab the box from the RAM slots. Grab the motherboard from the RAM slots and not from the ports. And you will see I will do it a couple of times while I'm building. But another important tip here is start with the motherboard. Start with the motherboard, start with the CPU, with the SSD, with the small stuff that you can assemble outside of the case, because once you put the motherboard inside the case, it will be a lot harder. So this is something that I can also recommend. Now, this is an Intel build, and over here you can see I'm installing an Intel CPU. And I do it in a very specific way. I don't know what kind of build you're going to build, but for me, I always try to grab the CPU by its sides, by the left and right side, and not by the bottom and top portion of the CPU. And the reason why is, I wish I had a motherboard right now to show it to you, but if you will take a look on your motherboard, let me actually bring up a picture of a motherboard. Maybe the same motherboard that I'm using here. Okay, so I didn't manage to find exactly I think it is the same model, but yeah, it is. I think it is the same model. It's a B760M. Yeah, I think it's the same model. Okay, so I managed to find the motherboard here with an Intel socket. And this is a picture actually from Reddit, and you can see the way that he's installing the CPU. It's actually my least, it's not my favorite way, okay? And I'll explain why. It's a bit hard to see in this picture, but if you take a look over here, let me actually zoom in a little bit. If you take a look at the socket, right, you can see these two black lines over here, right? You see this one and this one. And these two black lines are actually, let me remember how to say this in English, one second. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly how to say this in English, but I will say something that is very similar. There's like a small crate over there, okay? So this is like, if you imagine like the socket like this, right? It goes like this, and then when it gets to the black, it goes a little bit down to the motherboard, and then it goes back up. So you have like space in that position. And if you grab the CPU from the right and the left sides of the CPU, it's actually easier to put the CPU inside the socket. You don't need to drop it, because every socket you will see that it's kind of very scary, right? You need to be like very careful, like not to bend the pins and stuff. So you need to be like super careful, like put the CPU like very carefully. And you will see in a lot of videos, even like very experienced builders and like very experienced YouTubers and stuff, they put the CPU and they like kind of drop it. And it's kind of scary to see this sometimes. So you will see that I'm not dropping it. I'm actually putting it in like a very chill way. And the way that I am able to reach it is by using those two crates, or I don't know how to say this in English, but you will feel it. When you open your motherboard box and you open your motherboard, you will see that on the left and the right side, you have like space for your fingers, and you can just gently put your CPU inside, and you don't need to like drop it in and just wish for the best or whatever. So yeah, of course, be gentle, but use the sides of the socket to put it just in a much easier way. So yeah, you can see it right here. I'm just gently putting the CPU. Let's watch this again. So you open the socket and just, you see what I do there? I'm barely even like, I'm just like very easily like, you know, lay it down. I don't drop it. I don't put it from one side and then drop to the other side. You need to pay attention to the orientation, okay? So usually you will have a triangle or a dot that will guide you, and you should put the triangle with the triangle on the motherboard. This is very common stuff to know, but if you don't know, so now you know. You have, specifically on Intel CPUs, you have a triangle and it's on the bottom left of the motherboard. This is why I always put the motherboard in the same position and the same towards me. That way I don't really need to check. I always know it's like the same every time. So yeah, once I put the CPU, I make sure it stays in place. You can see I'm giving it like kind of a small wiggle just to see it's seated correctly. And then put the arm, the protective plate comes right off, and then you just close it. Like simple as that, right? It's not too complicated. As long as you follow the steps, just open it carefully, use the sides, and you should be good to go. So yeah, you can see here how I'm using the right side of my hand, the right side of the box with my right hand. This is why I put the box on the right hand, and it's just easier for me to manage. Imagine if the box was the opposite way, then I need kind of to grab it the opposite way. I guess it's also okay. It depends if you're a right hand or a left hand, like if you're a lefty or something. I'm right-handed, so this is what it is. Okay, so I grab here a knife. Okay. And I open the RAM. And this is a coarser kit, no RGB or something special. And this is another important tip. So always make sure to check the position of your RAM. And you can see that I'm checking here before I install it. And then I see that it's in the correct position. And then I press it down. You can see that there's a slight hesitant right before I install the RAM. You can see I'm like looking. Is the notch aligned? Yes, it's aligned. Okay, that's good. Then you press from both sides. Don't be afraid to apply a little bit of force. Once you're sure that the notch is in the same place, you should be totally fine. If you try to install it the other way, you will see that the notch in the middle of the RAM is not exactly in the middle. So it will be slightly up or down. So you need to make sure that you're in the correct position before you put it. And also another important tip right here. When you install a RAM in a motherboard that has 4 slots, you want to use slots 2 and 4. Don't use the slots right next to each other. And I'll show you what I mean by this. Okay, so this is right here the motherboard that I was using in the video. And if you take a look on the slots right here, you can see that 2 of them are colored in gray and 2 of them are colored in black. And there's a specific reason for that. And if you actually take a look on the motherboard itself, there's also a diagram that shows you what each slot is specified as. Okay, so you can see that the first 2 slots are A1 and A2. Then you have B1 and B2. And you will see that it also says here first. So A2 and B2 are first. And the reason why it's working like this, for those of you who don't know, RAM works in something that is called dual channel with your CPU. Okay, so think about it like this. Okay, I will do a very basic kind of analogy for you. Okay, I know it's something very basic. Maybe you know this, but for those of you who don't know, this is how it works. The CPU is the part that does all the calculations in your computer, right? The RAM, you should think about it as your like muscles, right? I don't really have any muscles, but you get the point. Basically, every time you think about something, right, the CPU think about like doing stuff, he needs his muscles. Like, let's say I'm going to the supermarket, right, to buy stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to get this, I need to get milk, I need to get eggs, all that kind of stuff. And I'm getting all this stuff with my hands. So that's how our computers work, kind of, okay? This is a weird analogy, but this is how it works. Now, let's say you went to the supermarket and you did all your grocery shopping, and you went out of the store and you have only one arm, let's say, okay, for some reason. If you try to get all of your stuff with one arm, it will be a lot harder than do it with 2 arms. Okay, that's why you want to use 2 sticks of RAM every time. All motherboards work with dual channel mode. They don't work particularly well with quad channel. That's why they split it to 2 and 2, right? If it was quad channel, it was all the same color, you can put it whatever you want, whatever. And then you will have to occupy all 4 slots. But in this kind of generation for the last like I think 10 years or so. There are no quad channels anymore. It used to be in the past you had quad channel, but today it's mainly like dual channel. So you don't want to use one stick and you want to use two sticks, but the way that the secret like the electricity works inside the motherboard is the CPU talks to the RAM, right? And it's looking for RAM each time. So the CPU is kind of like, okay, I need my arms. Okay, is there an arm in the first one? No. Okay, is there an arm in the second one? Oh, cool. If there's an arm in the second one, there's probably an arm on the fourth one. So he just skips the third one. But if he needs to, like if you put it here first, then he goes like, okay, is there an arm here? Oh, yes. But maybe there's an arm on 2 as well. And then he doesn't know and need to check everything. So the CPU has more cycles to think about, okay, where's the RAM? Like, where's my hands, right? Now, I know it sounds dramatic, but it all happens in like very like split seconds. Like it's very fast, right? It's not that big of a deal, but it is recommended. And the manufacturer itself is actually telling you, hey, put it here and here. Don't put it here and here. So if you're not sure, just follow the diagram on the motherboard. Pretty much every motherboard has a diagram like this next to the RAM slot. And yeah, make sure you put the notch correctly and don't be afraid. Like if you follow these steps, you should be totally fine installing RAM. Okay, so yeah, you can see that every time that I finish with a part, I put all the excessive like plastics and packaging inside the box. And this is what I meant before. You can see the way that I grab the motherboard with the RAM, with the box all together. This is why I put it this way. It's something that someone taught me. I don't remember when or how, or I'm really not sure. But yeah, I just do this this way for years. And yeah, here you can see that I'm preparing the I/O shield. Now this is an important part because, of course, I'm not installing the I/O shield right now. So why do I put why do I take it out? And the reason why is, as you can see, I'm bending some metal flaps over here. And this is something that I'm just used to do every time I build a computer, because you can see this annoying stupid flaps. If you forget to take them out, you will end up blocking your ports. And not all motherboards have this, right? Some have just like integrated I/O shield, and you don't. Yeah, you can even see that I'm making sure nothing will get stuck inside the boards. I even note it inside the video. And yeah, this is a very important step. I always do this before I even touch the case. I just make sure, because I'm like preparing the motherboard, I prepare everything that comes with the motherboard. The I/O shield usually comes with the motherboard, so that's why I do it this way. Yeah, put the trash in the trash. That's also important. And next time I'm installing the SSD. So this is a gigabyte M.2 SSD. And this is pretty straightforward, to be honest. Again, you can see that in each step of the build, I'm taking all the excessive stuff. I try to work very cleanly. It's something in my head, right? And I think especially for you, if you're new to this and this is your first build, like I remember the times that I first built a computer, like it was a mess, right? Like all the boxes were kind of thrown all over the place, and like my room looked like very messy. And on the job, I really learned to work in a clean environment, and I think it really affects a lot. You can see how I grab the motherboard again with the box. This is why I put the box like this, and yeah, so this is the precision screwdriver kit I have. This is from Xiaomi, actually. I bought it for like 20-30 bucks. It's actually a pretty cool kit. I think I have a link somewhere for this. It's really cool. I opened the SSD slot right over here. This motherboard comes with like some kind of plate, a cooling plate, a passive cooling plate for the SSD. So you take it out. I first put it the wrong way. And you can see that the SSD, the sticker is facing the opposite side. It's totally okay. Sometimes it's like this. It really depends on which side they put the M.2 slot, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Just put it like this. Now, if you don't have a plate, you will find inside the motherboard box small screws, and you just put the screw right over here, and yeah. But if you have this cooling plate, you always remember to peel the protective film from the thermal pad that there is under this cooling piece. So there's like very gooey stuff right under it, and this helps to dissipate the heat from the SSD towards the metal plate. So you take it off and then you just install it right over there. Nothing too crazy. And yeah, and right here, this is the part where you kind of finish with all the things that you can do outside of the case. Now you can install the cooler, and actually with this build I should have installed the cooler, and I will show you later why. But yeah, and in this particular build I just finish everything with the motherboard and I put it aside. And also the GPU, you want to save it for last. And now we go to open the case. And when I open PC cases, I have a very particular way, kind of on the psychotic side, I would say, because I'm very particular about it. You can see that I first opened the top, okay, and there's a reason for everything, I promise. And then what I do is I go to those flaps, those carrying handles, and I make sure to take them out. And the reason why, because if you don't take this out, there's a piece of foam right over here. And if this part is inside, when you try to take out the case, it will get stuck. So make sure to take this out, because you will have a hard time to take your case out of the box, and it's like super annoying. So you can see I do it here, and then I take it out here. And then what I do is I open all the cardboard flaps, and I take the case out. I kind of like take the box out of the case and not the case out of the box, right? So I put it on the table like this, and then I make sure again that the flaps are up, and then I take it out. And you can see the foam right here, right? And if you don't take those cardboard flaps, you'll get stuck with the foam, and you will have a very hard time. So yeah, that's a very important tip for you right there. And what I do here is I grab my screwdriver. After I take this out, you will see right over here, I get my precision screwdriver in my hand. And the reason why is I touch the case with my screwdriver. And the reason why I do that is because my screwdriver is made out of metal. Now, if you would try to touch your case with your bare hands after you take it out of the box, you'll probably get a very painful zap. You'll get electrified, pretty much. Not like really electrifying, like, electrostatic like discharge. And that's very annoying. It's not fun. I don't like to get zapped. And usually it used to be in the past that you will need to put this kind of weird anti-static wrist strap, and no one really does this way these days, sorry. And what I do is I take something metal, I touch parts of the case with that metal thing, and then it will discharge you. Sometimes it doesn't work, I'm gonna be very honest, but most of the time it will work, and as you can see here, I'm touching everything and I'm not getting zapped. So yeah. Okay, now also again in a very kind of psychotic particular way, I put the case with the feet towards the top, right? So I check the feet, this is the feet here, and then I take the part of the foam from the feet first. And the reason why I do this way, because pretty much 99% of case manufacturers, and I've dealt with a lot of cases in my line of work, right? By the way, for those of you who don't know, I work as a PC builder in a local computer store, and I've built hundreds of computers. Like literally, I touched at least 100 cases in my life, out of like different kinds and whatever. All case manufacturers, pretty much all of them, always wrap the case with the film from top to bottom. So if you open the case from bottom to top, it's just easier to open it like this. Just watch. You take the film, you flip the case is already on its feet. And then you just remove the remaining, and voila, you got a case. If you do this the other way around, it means that, so imagine, right, you take the foam out of the top of the case, and then you put it on the table. You can scratch your case, scratch the table, bend it, hurt it, whatever, right? The bottom of the case, the feet have rubber pads, usually, most of cases. So by doing this way, you protect your table and you protect your case. So yeah, this is again, it's very particular. I know, it's just like, dude, come on. What the frick are you talking about? It's just opening like a box, right? But yeah, there's a specific reason. Trust me, I damaged a lot of tables and a lot of cases in my day, so there's a reason why I do this. And yeah, let's just keep watching. So yeah, after I open the case, I think there's a part here where my case didn't came with screws, if I remember correctly. I made this video a really long time ago, and but yeah, this is something that I remember because I've never, okay, but before we talk about it, this is something very important. As you can see, if you open the side panel, the tempered glass side panel, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't do it, but it is very good practice to put the case on its side, okay? Because if you open the side panel while the case is standing, you risk the case to the tempered glass to fall and break, and you don't want this. So put the case on like a table, open it safely, like work correctly, right? Just a lot easier to open it this way. And here I'm using my power drill. Again, this is just for like time management for me, right? Just if you build computers, like if you do like a couple of this like every day, you kind of get the hang of it, and you just like you want to get like finished with it, right? So I'm not gonna bother like do it with hand screwdriver. I'm just doing it with a drill. And here you can see that I put the tempered glass side panel right back in the box of the case between the two pieces of foam. This is very, very important because the last thing you want is someone stumble upon your tempered glass side panel and break it. So put it inside the box, put the 2 pieces of foam surrounding it. That way you will make sure. I've never, ever I had a side panel broke by being in the box like that. Just put it in the box between the pieces of foam, it'll be totally fine. So yeah, here I take the other side panel, the non-tempered glass. And again, this whole process is just to prepare, right? You can see that every time that I approach something, there's a preparation part and then building, preparation and then building. That's what you want to do. Take your steps like slowly. Don't rush everything. Plan ahead. It will help you a lot. And over here you can see that I'm looking at the case, I'm inspecting it. I'm saying, okay, I will need to open this part because this is where my GPU will go. And over here, this is actually something very important. A lot of case manufacturers, especially if you buy a budget case, you will see that they use PCIe brackets that you need to break, and they are not installed by screws. And I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, so this is a video on my channel from a build guide that I did to a very similar case from a different brand. But in this video, you're about to see what I mean about needing to break the PCIe brackets and why it is important to do it before you install anything inside your computer, and also why it is very, very important. So you can see that this case actually comes with screws, which is very confusing, but you will see in a moment that when I'm trying to install the GPU, when I try actually to take the screws out, right? I found out that these PCIe brackets, I need to break them. And watch what happens if you try to break them while you have a motherboard installed inside your computer. This is very, very dangerous. I think even twice, I destroyed a motherboard like this. So yeah, you can see that I'm taking the screws and it doesn't do anything. And then I realized that I need to break it. And you will see how I exactly do it in a moment. Okay, so here you can see that, I hope you can see this. I might move myself to the right side just so you can see what is happening. So here you can see that I'm trying to break, and you can see that I'm trying to move the PCIe bracket and it's getting stuck inside the motherboard. It is so annoying. It's like, I don't get why case manufacturers are doing this. It's like I get why they do it, because it's just cheaper to manufacture like this. But I don't get it. Why would you do this? Like, why you risk people hurting their stuff? Like, it's like insane. Most people who buy budget cases, they're not very experienced like in building computers. Even experienced builders, right? Even me, I forget a lot of time to check. And I install a whole system, and then I'm having hard time to take the PCIe brackets out. Now you would think like, yeah, just why don't you push it the other side? You can't. You just can't. It's like, it's not possible. You have to push it the inside. And there's a way. There is a workaround this, right? And you'll see that what I do here is, again, it's very dangerous. You need to be very careful with it. And it's taking a lot of like skill and being gentle and everything. But you can see that what I do is I take the inner part towards me, right? Very, very carefully. I don't try to break it immediately. And then I try to kind of give it very, very small, subtle, like back and forth until I can. So until it will break. So what I did is I like bend it just a little bit towards me so it won't scratch the motherboard, and then I just like break it off. Super annoying. Always try to make sure that you do this before you install a motherboard, but yeah. So here I actually remember to do it, and you can see that I'm taking the motherboard and I actually do a test fit. And you would think, why would you do a test fit? Isn't all motherboards are the same, and isn't like the space for a GPU isn't the same? No. If you have a motherboard that has the PCIe slot, sorry, the M.2 slot, let me move myself, whoops. Let me move myself over here. If you have a motherboard that has the PCIe slot, the M.2 slot, sorry, above, usually the GPU will be one step lower. So it very depends on your motherboard and your like the way they arranged all the slots, and you just need to test fit. You just take the motherboard, like place it inside the case without screwing anything, just see where the GPU goes and then break the ones that you need. But before that, of course, I installed the IO shield. And by the way, if you're having trouble with installing this part, sometimes it can be very annoying. I actually have a video for you. So if you search on YouTube on how to install the IO shield full tower TV, you will find this video. It will explain to you everything you need to know on how to install the IO shield in the most easiest way possible. All the different kind of like variations and stuff, bending the flaps, the metal flaps, everything I showed in this 2-minute video. I can link it below, maybe also put like a annotation like over here, and or you can just search it and you can find it. Very easy to do. If you're having trouble with it, just follow the guide and you'll be totally fine. So yeah, you can see here I'm installing the IO shield, again using the techniques that I know, and you can find them in the guide. And over here I take my graphic card out because I want to see how many slots it has, right? I want to see where it goes. I want to also make sure that it actually fits the case, which is something you need to do before before you assemble a computer, but you may never know. I've encountered situations where I did double check and it still didn't fit. So yeah, there's a lot of like you know, small things that you can never accommodate for. So yeah, nothing too special here. Just open the graphic card very like carefully. Do a test fit. I think this card is actually like barely fits. It's like pretty huge card. Yeah, you can see it's like very, I have no idea what I thought to myself building with this case, but because it's not very wide, not very deep, sorry. Width is the other side. But yeah, I saw the GPU is fits in, and then the motherboard, and this is the fitting that I do, and this is a micro motherboard, right? So the PCIe slot is positioned pretty much at the top, and you can see that I need to break this 2 top PCIe brackets. But if I had like a big motherboard, I might have to break this and this brackets and not the top 2. So again, it very depends. That's why I do this test fit, and you can see that I point out these are the ones that I need, because the graphic card will go here, and it is a dual slot GPU, as you can see here. I pointed out again, doing a very good job in the video. I don't remember the spot, to be honest, but yeah, here you can see it's a lot easier to to break the flaps before and not after you install a motherboard. took me like 5 seconds maybe. So yeah, continuing forward. It's a bit of a long video, but I hope you're getting a ton of value out of this. By the way, if you're new here and you're not subscribed yet, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below. Consider also maybe leaving a comment telling me if there's something maybe I should have done differently, if there's something that you want more information about. What are your favorite tips? If there's something new that you learned? And yeah, let's continue watching the video and learn some more important tips. So over here, I'm explaining about the positions of the screws. This case is a full ATX case. So for motherboards, you have pretty much two main sizes these days. You have a micro motherboard, which is this one, and you have a full ATX motherboard that you can put. It very depends on your case. What I can recommend is, I probably should do a video about it, but let me actually show you a picture that I did once. Okay, so this is a picture that will represent very clearly what you need to do in order to screw a motherboard into your case. So let me just move myself out of the frame so you can see better. Okay, so now you can only hear me. I hope it's okay, but I just want you to see the whole picture so it will be very, very clear for you. So a standard ATX motherboard, a full ATX motherboard, will have 9 positions for screws. Okay, you can see them marked in red here. If you take a look at our case, and you can see right over here, there is 9. If you buy a full ATX case, right, the pre-installed standoffs for those screws are for ATX motherboards, because they assume that you will install a full ATX motherboard, which is pretty much not always the case. A lot of cases are full ATX cases and you install a micro motherboard because a lot of times it's like cheaper. But the standoffs over here are for full ATX motherboards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now, if you take a look on a micro ATX motherboard, which is the one that we are using, you will see that the position of the screws is not only different, it's also, you have a lot less screws. So you have only 6 screws. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can see that they're not aligned, right? So the screws on the micro ATX motherboard are like in the middle here. And if you look on the case, you will see that there is no standoffs here. You see this position and this position. Some micro ATX motherboards are not like this. They have the screw over here. So it's like aligned properly. And this is why you see 2 positions here. But yeah, this is just like the way it works. And you need to reposition the standoffs to those places. Usually you get extra standoffs with every case that you buy. But you need to reposition standoffs in order to fit a micro ATX motherboard. Now, I think I have another picture here. Yeah. Now, some micro ATX motherboards have a little bit of a different layout. It's starting as full ATX. It has 3 on each side, but then it ends as a micro. Okay, so in that case, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 and 2. Okay, so you'll either have this, or you can have like a more extended micro ATX. So this is what I'm showing here, that you need to, yeah, this motherboard is micro ATX, and I'm back in the frame, and you need to change. And this is where I realized that my case didn't come with a bag of screws, which like I'm gonna be very honest. Never happened to me before, ever. Ever. Like I said, I've built more than 100 computers. Never happened to me. This is the first time it happens to me. The odds that you will get a case and not a bag of screws is like super rare. But yeah, I got a case, fresh, new, out of the box. You saw I opened the box in the video. It's not a used case, and it didn't have any screws. Luckily for me, because I build computers for a living, I usually have a ton of screws and spare parts, as you can see over here. So it really saved my butt over there, and this is why I really implore you to work like in a correct way, right? Take all your spare parts, put them in the box. You might need them later. This is the way I work. This is an example for a situation where it literally saved my butt. This computer was a build for a friend of a coworker, and he needed it to be done in a Friday. I had barely like 1 hour to build this computer and get it ready for him, and yeah, it just saved my butt. So yeah. Now, in order to change the standoffs, you need an M.2 socket, I think, and most of us don't have an M.2 socket. You can use a pair of pliers, like I do, or you can use an adapter. Some cases come with a small adapter. Most cases don't come with that adapter, and you can just use a pair of pliers. Just be very gentle with it. Basically what you do, you take the standoff, you install it in the places that you will need for the motherboard, like I explained it to you before. And here I do use the adapter. So the adapter is like a small, it's very hard to show it, but it's a very small like Philips to M.2 socket adapter. It's a bit hard to see here, I know. The camera angle wasn't that great. But yeah, you can use just a pair of pliers. For me, it's just easier with the adapter and the drill to reposition the motherboard, the standoffs. And yeah, if you don't, you will probably won't have an adapter like I did, like I used. You can use just a pair of pliers and slowly work your way out. And that's it for the standoffs. Over here, I have more screws. Okay, so those are the screws for the motherboard. And yeah, I first found the standoffs, and then I found the screws, and now I'm going to install the motherboard. Now, this is a don't do, okay? I did this again because I was stressed with time. I wanted to get the build finished, and yeah, I'm doing something that you shouldn't do. I think someone even mentioned it in the comments on the video, and he said you're installing a motherboard while the case is standing, like you have balls. So yeah, you shouldn't do it this way. You should put the case lay on its back and install the motherboard in a correct way. Let me actually show you how you should install it in the correct way. So this is from another build guide that I did, and over here you can see the way that I installed the motherboard. The case is laying on its back in a very clean space. Make sure all the cables are out and you don't have any cables interfering in your way. And then you pick the motherboard from a very safe place. So in this case, I actually installed the cooler beforehand, which is something that I should have done also with the other build. But yeah, take it from a safe place. Over here you can see there is no IO shield because this motherboard has a built-in IO shield, and you just like place it very gently. And yeah, don't be too afraid. Just try to align it properly, and make sure you have screws laying around so you can secure it quickly, and make sure that you put the standoffs in the right positions. Just make sure, you know, don't rush to anything. I build a computer in like 40 minutes, 50 minutes. I can build a computer in 20. It's not the point. The point is to do it correctly. It's your first build, do it slowly, don't rush anything, and you should be totally fine. So yeah, back to the video. I'm installing the motherboard with one hand right now. It's going from bad to worse, guys. So one screw. You can see, like, even that's why I'm saying don't be afraid. Even you can even install a motherboard like this, and it will be totally fine. But again, don't do this, especially if it's your first build. Do it in a more safer way, you know. But over here, yeah, I just installed the motherboard this way, using first with a screwdriver, a hand screwdriver, and then using my drill. You don't want to use a drill with your first screw, because you have no momentum and you can actually shove something, and yeah, it's bad time. But again, I would recommend you not to use any power tools at all if it's your first build. Yeah. So you can see that in some places that are harder to reach, I am using my precision screwdriver, making sure that the I/O ports, the back ports are aligned correctly. And this is actually a part that it might seem that I work fast for you, but I'm actually taking my time very slowly and checking everything and making sure. And yeah, right here I'm starting to work on the cable management a little bit. This case has a very annoying, I think this is the AX61 Elite from Antec, and this case has a very annoying RGB system. I did a review on this case. I did also a build guide. Unfortunately, I didn't talk enough about the RGB system in this case. I also didn't know too much at that time, but now I have built a couple of times with this case, and I can tell you that it has some of the worst, terrible RGB systems that I've ever seen. They use some very special dedicated connectors, and over here I kind of show which one you should plug, which one you shouldn't plug. Look, this is very case specific, okay? And over here, if you have a case that has internal RGB cables, and how do you know if you have internal RGB cables? You will see all the fans are connected to each other. Instead of having like dedicated cables from one to each other, you will see that they all have like very weird connectors, and they're connected to each other, which is what happens with this case. And you can see that here I'm saying not to plug a certain cable, and this is an ARGB cable that does a lot of trouble if you plug it into your motherboard. It's very specific to this particular case. If you want to see the build guide that I did with this case, I guess I can link it below, but you will probably not encounter something like this, I promise you, unless you buy this case. I don't know. But again, this is something very, very specific. I show here not to plug the ARGB cable. I show here that the case has a reset switch which functions as a LED switch, means that every time you press the reset switch, it changes the colors of the RGB on the fans instead of doing reset. A lot of cases actually do have this implementation, but the way Antec did it with this case is very weird. They have a SATA cable that plugs into your power supply, and that's what gives power to the fans. And you can see that I'm saying here in the video, what I was trying to say here was regarding the RGB in the case. The case has an internal RGB system that is powered by SATA. You change the RGB modes with this button right here. So that's what I told you about the reset switch, which functions as a LED switch. Usually that button is a reset button, so yeah, here I explain it again, which you should plug into your motherboard. But in this case, every time you press it, it changes colors. You can plug this ARGB connector to the motherboard to control the lights via software. But I highly do not recommend it, since I dealt with this case before and it made me a ton of problems. So yeah, again, it's very specific to this case, and yeah, that's why I'm saying here don't use this. But look, every RGB or ARGB, whatever you want to call it, have very different connectors. Like every company, every brand made very different connectors. I wish that that wasn't the way that manufacturers are working, but unfortunately that's how it works. And what I can recommend you is watch a lot of videos. Okay, if you bought a particular case, try to look on YouTube for someone who built with that case. Ask me. Okay, I have dealt with a lot of cases. You can DM me on Facebook, on Instagram. I'll put all my socials right here on the screen right now. It's basically at Full Tower TV, and every social platform you can feel free to DM me and I will help you. That's the best that I can offer you, because there isn't like a guide for RGB. There is guides on YouTube on RGB, but I am telling you that every RGB, every case manufacturer, every company make different solutions, and it's a mess. It's a total mess. I wish that wasn't the case. I wish everyone had a standard that all work the same, but it's just the way it is, guys, and there's nothing we can do about it but helping each other. So I'm here for you. I will help you. I will give you my knowledge and my experience. Whatever it is you need to build your computer, feel free to use it. That's the best I can offer you. That's why I'm here for. Okay? That's why I'm doing this 1 hour long video already. I hope you get a lot out of this. Yeah, so here I'm repeating the same stuff, and we're getting to install the power supply. And as you can see by now, I'm not touching the graphic card at all. The graphic card is the last thing that you want to install in your system. So we did the motherboard with the CPU and SSD and RAM outside of the case. I should have done the cooler as well, but I will explain later why I didn't done the cooler. After I install the motherboard inside the case, I want to do the power supply to plug all the cables, and the graphic card is the last thing you want to install. So yeah, again, preparation. I take everything out, all the cables, screws, protective film bags, just prepare myself for installation. Like I said before, preparation, then installation. I should do a slogan. Preparation, then installation. You know, I had an idea to do badges from the channel that you can put on your case. And one of the badges, or maybe I should make like a shirt. Preparation, then installation. It could be kind of cool, I think. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, this power supply is kind of digress a little bit over there. This power supply is semi-modular, which means that half of the cables are pre-installed and half of the cables are not installed. And usually that the cables that are installed are the mandatory cables, and you will see in a second what I mean by mandatory. and the cables that are extra, which means that usually these are cables that you won't have to use in every computer. Let's say you don't have a GPU, right? Not every PC have, like every gaming PC should have a good GPU, but some computers don't, and you don't need to plug power to your GPU, so that's extra. But cables such as cables for the motherboard are mandatory, so that's why they come pre-installed with the power supply. And you can see again, I'm preparing everything, and then I'm not rushing to install. And yeah, let's see, what is this? Even though this power supply is semi-modular, I prefer to plug all the cables. So this is true if you have a case with enough room for all the cables. If you don't, it's totally fine not to plug them. There's one thing you should know though. Every power supply, and when I say every power supply, I mean by every power supply, not from a brand, every specific model power supply have specific dedicated cables. What I mean is, if you buy an Antec CSK 650 watt power supply 80 plus bronze, it will have cables that are very different from a different Antec power supply. If you buy a Corsair RM 650 watt power supply, it will have different cables than a Corsair TX or some other model, okay? Because the companies, they made the power supplies in different factories, and some models are just don't have the same cables. So if you don't plug all the cables, I like to plug them all, because as you see here, it's better to do so for future upgrades and not looking for cables, since each unit has its own cables. So yeah, I even say it in the video, and if you have space, just plug everything in. Plug everything in, don't worry about it. With after like 2 years, 3 years, you will want to upgrade something. You won't remember where you put your cables, and you won't be able to find them anywhere. Especially if you buy a budget power supply, like forget about it. The odds of you finding a cable, like online, buying like extra cables, it's pretty slim, and you'll probably end up buying the wrong cables, and if you plug the wrong cables, you will kill something in your system. Plain as simple as that. So I prefer all power supplies will be non-modular. I know it's a very different take, it's very unpopular opinion, but I prefer non-modular power supplies. I prefer them all with all the cables. I do understand that it's more convenient, especially if you have a small case, you have a mini ITX build or something small, and it's totally okay not to plug them. Just put the extra cables in a safe place that you remember. Maybe even mark them. Put like a small note, a sticker, I don't know what, an envelope, okay? And write down the model name and say, okay, these power supply cables are for this and this power supply. Because I promise you, I'm not gonna lie, I have at least like 12 to 15 power supply cables, which are all mixed from different power supplies, and I have no idea which ones are going to which power supplies. Even if I want to sell it, I don't know to who to sell it, what to write on the model, nothing, and I can't use them. I should throw them in the trash. Because if you do mix, and even if it's going in, and if it's not the same pin layout, you will fry something. So it was a bit of a long rant over there, but I hope you get the point. So yeah, over here I'm aligning the power supply, and as you can see, the bottom fan of the power supply is actually facing towards the bottom, and this is not an what's the verse of intake? I totally forgot. Exhaust. Okay, I remembered. So this is not exhaust, this is intake. It means that the power supply is taking fresh air from the bottom of the case. The bottom of the case is a little bit elevated because of the feet. It takes fresh air from the bottom inside the unit, inside the power supply itself, in order to cool it. The reason why I mention it is because I had a lot of people, I saw a lot of people saying that this is exhaust. This is like taking air out, which is totally incorrect. If you will look at the blades, the position of the blades of power supply, you will see it's not. You can even put your hand not inside the power supply. Please don't put your hand inside the power supply. Put the hand under your power supply and you will feel that there's cold air going inside. Okay? Don't put hands in power supplies. Okay, so yeah, over here, install the power supply is nothing too crazy. Just align the screws where the power supply should be installed. And there's nothing important that I can say over here. And yeah, over here, this is the big mess, starting plugging everything and arranging all the cables. And this stuff is annoying. Like, for me, this is probably one of the hardest parts. Some cases have it more easily to cable manage. Some cases are a little bit hard. This case is pretty hard. It's not easy to cable manage here, especially with all the dedicated RGB antique cables they have over here. But yeah, I take all the front panel cables. I'm gonna kind of work through what I do in each part and what I try to do. So first I kind of arranged everything, right? Preparation, and then after preparation, installation. I should really make a shirt with that. Okay. So this is the CPU power cable, and you will usually I'm gonna work cable by cable. Okay, for some of you it's pretty like you might know this stuff, but for some of you it's like very new. So yeah, just pay attention, right? First, you have a 4+4. 4+4 means you have 4 pins with 4 pins, which make a single 8-pin connector that goes to CPU power connector on the motherboard. Okay, usually most motherboards have an 8-pin connector. Some motherboards will have 2 8-pin connectors. As you can see here, my power supply has 2 8-pin connectors. And this cable goes at the top of your motherboard on the left side of the motherboard. So if you go from the back, you go from the right, and then it will be over here at the left. Okay, over here, let's go to our motherboard picture. I'm actually gonna have the motherboard picture while we are watching the video, so it will be easier to explain. So over here, let me put myself out. You can see it says ATX 12 volt 2x4. Remember, 4x4, this is CPU power. Okay, and it is very important that it will be 4x4 and not something else. Why? You will see in a second. Okay, so this 4x4 goes at the top left. Okay, and you will see that there's like a small latch over here, and the connector has a specific way it can go in. You can't, it's not like a Type-C connector, right? You can't like go both ways. You need to go in a very specific way. So just check where the top pin out. You will see there's like a small latch. When you plug it in, you should hear a small click, and you will feel that the connector goes in. Okay, next. The next cable that we want to do. So yeah, I usually try to hide this cable over here just to know that I finished with it and I don't need to worry about it anymore. If your motherboard for whatever reason have 2 of these, you just plug 2 of these, but make sure there are 4 plus 4 and not something else. Okay, don't mix. Okay, so next what I will do, let's see over here, because I don't really remember. This video was shot like 7 months ago. Okay, now I check how I should pre-route the GPU connectors. Oh, okay, that's actually a very important step. And it is something that, look, you don't have to do this, okay, but the more computers you will build, the more pitfalls you will learn to avoid. And this is a pitfall that not always is happening, okay? It's sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So just be, again, I'm trying always to plan ahead, right? It's always prepare myself to the future, to look a few steps ahead. And it's very hard for someone who never built a computer before to look a few steps ahead. So you can skip this part, okay? But I will explain what I do here for some of you who are maybe more experienced and you're watching this video. And what I do basically is I say, okay, I have a lot of cables behind and I want to make sure where do I put one of the most thickest cables, which is the GPU cables. As you can see, there's also 2 8-pin connectors over here, which are not 4x4. Okay, it's very important. It's different connectors. And I just want to check, okay, where should I route those cables? I'm trying to plan ahead, right? And it's something that you can do and you should do, okay, but you don't have to do. Okay, and you will see later why I check this and why I make sure. So yeah. Okay, so these are the GPU cables. And you will about to see that what I do here is I take and I route them where I would position the GPU. And this is just to kind of, how to say, save myself some like visual mess, right? I want like to, okay, this goes here, this goes here. I want like to kind of visualize and try to arrange as much as possible. You can see that I'm like taking cables. I'm not connecting anything. I'm just like, okay, this is okay. This what this cable does, what this cable does. And by the way, if you're not sure, watch any of my build guides. You can look them on the channel. Pretty much every build guide has like a list of chapters and you can find like what each cable does, like down to the wire, like everything. If you're not sure, you can ask me. I will gladly help you. Okay, again, you can DM me on social platforms, but yeah, I just try to arrange everything and understand. Also keep spare zip ties, which is important. And over here, what I do is I arrange all the spare cables that I won't be needing. These cables, this bunch of cables right here, are SATA and Molex connectors. And SATA and Molex connectors, let me show you how they look like. Okay, so this is a SATA and this is a Molex connector. And now you're probably saying, oh, I know this cable, I saw this. And the reason why you probably said that, it's because these connectors are very old standard. You can take any power supply from the last 20 years and you will probably find at least a Molex connector. The SATA came a little bit later, but these cables usually are used to plug hard drives. Hard drives, DVD drives, SATA drives, SSD, whatever you want. That's before we had the small M.2 SSDs, we had mechanical hard drives, and we used to plug them with these connectors. These days, we don't have mechanical hard drives anymore, and we usually don't really need them. Only for like RGB controllers and stuff. So yeah. What I do here is I arrange all of them together, and I will put them inside the bottom of the case. You can see I put the zip tie here. And again, this is just to get mess out of my eyes, okay? Just like kind of clear all the mess I could clear before I do anything else. I'm just arranging everything. That's how I go about like cable management. So this is the 24-pin connector. And this cable goes to the motherboard. A thick 24-pin that goes to the motherboard. A lot of you probably know about this connector, and let me show you where this goes on the motherboard. So this is our motherboard, and you can see over here on the right side next to the RAM, this connector supply power to the motherboard, actually runs it. By the way, I didn't say, but I think I kind of said it, but if it wasn't clear, this connector right here that we plugged earlier, the 4+4 8-pin connector, is supplying electricity and voltage to the CPU, and this is right here is giving power to the motherboard itself. So yeah, plug the 24-pin connector, and by the way, this connector also have like a small latch on the right, and you will have a clip that needs to go on that side. You can't really install it both ways, and just make sure that the clip is aligned on the right side. Push it all the way through. Don't be afraid. Make sure you put it all the way in. You do need to apply a little bit of force, which is totally fine, and just make sure it goes in all the way. So next, what I will do is I will take the cables that go from the case, and you can see that at this point, pretty much the cable management, the mess of the cables at least is gone. Most of the cables are not outside, they're inside the case, and that's how I go about cable management. I just try to arrange everything to see where it goes, put the stuff where they need to go, and then I will like zip tie and do all the, you know, tidy needy stuff that needs to be done. And over here, this is the USB 3.0 cable, and this one is used to power the USB 3.0 port that you have on the front of your case. Some cases have more. In this case, we have only one, and this will be plugged into your motherboard to transfer data and power. And you can see over here, this cable needs to be plugged, I think, on the bottom maybe. No, so this one here is on the side. So yeah, let's take a look on our motherboard, and you can see right over here, this is the connector that this is the header that I'm plugging the connector to. And it's on the right hand side. Some motherboards have it at the bottom, some on the side. Usually it's on the side. And let's see what else. So again, I'm trying like to kind of do the cable management halfway, not doing any zip ties, just try to arrange the cables. And this what I do is I take some cases have two connectors that are kind of glued to each other, and I just rip them apart, because you will see that they go to different places in the motherboard. So this one is the HD audio cable. This one does microphone and headphone for the case. And this one USB. You can see the close-up over here. Man, I even forgot that I did this kind of editing. So yeah, USB for USB 2.0. Oh, Let me actually move myself. USB for USB 2.0 and HD audio for microphone and headphone jack. Now this cable is not providing audio for the ports that you have at the back on your motherboard. This is just to kind of to say to your motherboard, hey, you also have microphone and headphone at the front. So it's not bypassing what you have on the motherboard, it's adding to. And what I mean, if you take a look over here at the back of your motherboard, you can see that you also have microphone and headphone jacks over here. And if you plug this, it doesn't mean that this will be disabled. They will work, but this one will be extra. Okay, I think someone asked me about it before, so I'm just clarifying it now. And yeah, the HD audio goes at the bottom of the motherboard on the left side. And this cable, if we go back to our motherboard, is going right over here where it says F audio. And F audio doesn't mean frick audio, like freaking audio. It means front audio. Okay. So front audio. That's not freaking audio. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. The left connector, as you can see. By the way, this connector has a missing pin. I think it's a little bit hard to see here. I think it's this one. And usually this connector goes only one way, so it's very hard to mistake this plug. There isn't any other plug on the motherboard which is like this. So it should be very easy to find. Some motherboards, by the way, instead of listing this as F audio, you will see that some motherboards will say something else. Maybe HD audio, maybe AAFP, which stands for, I don't remember. Gonna be very honest with you. I think it's audio something front panel, AAFP, something like that. I don't remember. You can look it up. But the point is, it's always the same connector. It's always the same missing pin on the bottom row. Sometimes it's actually, I think I've seen motherboards where it's upside down. You know what? Let me actually check. I think ASUS, if I remember correctly, put it upside down. Let's see if I can find a picture here. Okay, there it is. Pictures. So yeah, I was correct. Okay, let me see if I can put this picture a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, so first of all, if you have an ASUS motherboard, you will find AAFP, not HD audio. And you can see that the missing pin is at the top. And it's not because it's a different connector, it's just because the connector is upside down. So, in the Gigabyte motherboard, they put it over here. But if you flip the connector, this missing pin will be over here. Okay, it just really kind of makes sense. Okay, and just to kind of fill our ADHD for those of us who have it, AAFP. Okay, it's not the American Academy of Family Physicians. No, I think it's something else. Okay, AAFP motherboard. Oh, I didn't notice that I'm blocking the search for you guys. Okay, what is AAFP socket on motherboard? Okay, there it is. I found it. I didn't remember something that is related to audio front panel. So yeah, analog AFP stands for analog audio front panel. There you go. Okay, moving on. Next we have the USB 2, and you will see that in our motherboard the USB connectors are right over here. So that's why I ripped apart the glue between the cables, because they're not gonna reach out. And you can see FUSB, it's front USB, not something else. You have FUSB 1, FUSB 2. Some motherboards will say USB. Some motherboards will say JUSB. MSI usually say JUSB, which is jumper USB. It's all the same. Again, you have missing pin. You can see here it's in a different spot. It can be upside down in some motherboards. Let's see how ASUS do it. Yeah, ASUS actually put the connector very differently from Gigabyte. You can see the missing pin is on the other side, and there's like different lettering and stuff. And the reason why is because each port here can power up to each header can power up to 2 USB ports. Okay, it goes the same for the USB 3.2 connector that we saw earlier. Each header can power up to 2 ports at once. So that's why you saw 5 and 6. It's USB 5 and 6. That's how they number it. And again, you can't really go wrong. Just check where is the missing pin, and then you plug it very easily like so. And again, just look, this is pretty much like half done. This computer is pretty much half done. Now these connectors are the front panel connectors. And front panel connectors can be a little bit hard. I'm going to move myself from the frame over here. And this is a small like recap on how they work, and I will show as well how to plug them. But basically you have the power switch, which gives power to the power switch, to the power button. You have the hard drive LED. So you can see over here it's hard drive LED. It means that this LED will turn on and off every time your hard drive is working. Okay? And hard drive can be mechanical hard drive, it can be an SSD, it can be anything. If it's detecting hard drive and it's working, you will see this light like going on and off. A power LED, and you can see it's split here. I don't think there's a specific reason why it's split like this. I'm sure there is, but I don't think it's very important for you or for me. I don't know the reason. I don't never ask. Never bothered me, and doesn't really matter when you build a computer. But power LED are just separated, and this will tell you if the computer is on or not. As simply as that. And usually you should have a reset switch, which in our case we don't have a reset switch because it is connected to Antec's weird RGB thing, whatever. So what you want to do is take all the cables and route it from the bottom, and those cables will go to our motherboard at the bottom left, right over here. Now I am going to move to the ASUS picture because it's a little bit more high-resed, and I want to use the diagram here just to show you how those cables are connected. And by the way, I know some motherboards don't have this diagram. I think ASUS, Gigabyte, pretty much all their motherboards have it. MSI usually don't. They have something that is called JFP, which is jumper front panel. Let me show you an MSI motherboard, how it looks like. Okay, so I managed to find an example for you from a video of mine. This is the build guide for the Cougar MX410. And over here, I'm using an MSI motherboard. And you can see that MSI have this connector a little bit in a very different way than ASUS and Gigabyte does it. So you can see a JFP. By the way, they all lay out all of their connectors as J something. Okay, J is shortcut for jumper. Okay, but usually what you will see a JFP1, it's jumper front panel 1, and you will see a diagram at the top which tells you where you should plug your cables and how, and we will explain it in a moment. And you also have JFP2. They split the front panel connectors in their motherboards, but in our case you will see it's arranged a little bit differently. The plugs go the same way in every motherboard, and you will see what I mean by that in a second. Let's see what's happening in the video. Okay, so yeah, I actually put a small diagram right over here that shows how I connect each cable. Look, basically the diagram, what it says, where to plug the plus and minus. Now, if you take a look, if you take a look at the connectors, you can see that some of them have plus and minus. You see the power LED. And the hard drive LED, but the power switch doesn't. And that's because you can plug the power switch either way. What I do usually is I put the writing at the bottom. Okay? So what I mean by this, if you take your motherboard and you plug, okay, you have your power LED, for example, over here, I'll make sure that this side will be at the bottom. That's just easier for me to remember everything. And you can see that it just really tells you hard drive LED, the plus is on the left side, minus is on the right side, so it's those two pins. Power LED will be plus here and minus here. Power switch will be these two pins. Okay? Reset switch, if we have, will be these two. Usually it's this 4 pins. Okay, these are the ones that you need. These ones are just extra. You can see power LED as well here, which is this and this. You can plug it wherever you want. Just follow the diagram. It's a little bit hard to like stick it and just make sure everything, you know, plugged all the way, but you can see how I maybe should have zoomed here in the footage. You can see how I check that the writing is at the bottom. I make sure where the plus and minus goes. I just follow the diagram. They're just simply as that. I remember it by heart by this point, building so many computers, but I remember when I started, it was pretty hard for me. So yeah, take your time, follow the diagram. If you need help, please contact me, feel free, and I will be happy to help you. So now we install the cooler, which I should have done earlier because this cooler is very hard to install outside. Okay, so this cooler is very hard to install once your motherboard is inside the case. I should have installed it outside. And look, every cooler is, yeah, okay, so that was I was about to say, Every cooler is very different. This is Cooler Master Hyper 212 or something like that, I think. And it's actually one of my most hated coolers, not in terms of performance, but in terms of installation process. It has a very weird, very annoying mounting system, which I really don't like. They're pretty much the only one that uses this mounting system. I think they did sell the patent to some other companies. I know Antec has a cooler like that, which is the Fergus A400, which uses the same mechanism. I really don't like it, but it is what it is. And each cooler, you just need to follow instructions, and you also have YouTube videos these days. I can't really cover all the coolers out there. Every cooler is very different. You might even use AIO, water cooling, which is totally fine. And each one of them has a process of its own. Over here, I do show how I install it. But the key takeaway from this video, you can even see that even for me, I needed to look for a guide. I think I even show it in the footage here that I'm actually looking through my phone while I was building. I didn't remember, and I watched a video. Yep. Imagine how weird right now it is. You're watching a video of me watching a video, watching a video. Oh my god, I just realized it. Holy crap, bro. This is some next level mind disrupting things. You're watching a video of a guy watching a video of a guy watching a video. How weird is that? Come on. Let's I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this too much. So yeah, at some point I remembered how to install it. It's been a while. Yeah, it's a very annoying mechanism. You can see that basically what you need to do is put a back plate. You need to install most of coolers have the back. Okay, let's just get through it because you will see what I mean in a second. So I installed the arms of the cooler, right? I will explain why I had it. You can skip this part if you want, but for those of you who want to listen my rant, I will explain why I hate it. You need to install these arms, right? So these are the parts that will be screwed to the back plate of the motherboard of the cooler. So once you do that, man, I should have really fast forwarded that part. I don't know why I guess people love it, but yeah. So these are the mounting hardware that we don't need because we use the Intel one, and you can see over here that I need to use the back plate, right? So you, God, I love YouTube so much. Yeah, I love YouTube. That's why we do it, baby. Okay, so you put the back plate, and usually at this point, most coolers have screws that you need to put from the other side of the motherboard, and you screw the back plate, and then the back plate holds into place. In this cooler, the screws are here, not in the back plate, okay? And you will see why it's a very bad design in my opinion. So let's say you want to install the cooler right now, okay? First of all, by the way, something that is very important and a lot of people forget, and I also forgot it once, is to remove the where is it? This is very important, okay? Listen. You will probably have it in every cooler, whether it's AIO, water, air, gas, I don't care. Whatever you use to cool your computer, this part, okay, needs to come off. Don't forget it. There's a sticker at the bottom of every cooler. Every cooler. A lot of people forget to take it out. And then you turn on your computer and it's like 50, 60 degrees on idle and it's like 100 degrees like instantly. And you don't understand why. That's because you didn't take your sticker out. Take your sticker out, please. Don't forget to take your sticker out. It's very important. Otherwise, your computer will like burn and you don't understand why. It's because your sticker is not out. So take your sticker out. Thank you. Don't forget it. Take your sticker out. Okay, I said it enough times. Let's move on. So over here, I also do something that is very dangerous and you shouldn't do. Okay? And I put thermal paste while the case is standing. Again, this build was on a Friday. I was very short on time and I had to get the build done quickly. And you can also see that I did a pretty crappy job in putting thermal paste. I think I put too much over here, but it really doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, this is, by the way, my bird. And unfortunately, he passed away a couple of months ago. It was a pretty hard time, but I think I didn't get over it completely, but never mind. This is for a different video. But yeah, you can see that because the back plate has no no screws to hold the back plate. Okay, I need to hold the back plate with one hand. Okay. Take the case on its back. Guys, listen, don't do this, okay? This is like some very extreme like stuff. It's very hard. Like my hand after this maneuver was like terribly like hurt. But what I did is I put my hand over here holding the back plate, tilting the case on its side, and then trying to screw the cooler, which has springs on the bottom right here, and you need to press it like super like hard to get the screw inside the socket. And this is the worst you can do. Like seriously, this is like very bad practice. Look at this cool shot. The back plate was like out and you can see me like screw. This is a cool shot. I'm gonna be honest. Again, I don't recommend you to do this, but this is kind of cool. Yeah, don't do this. So yeah, fortunately, this time it went pretty easily, but a lot of times I need to fight with that cooler, with that mechanism for like at least 5 to 10 minutes. I hate it so much. Bro, I had a weird voice for a second. But yeah. Cooler is in. You can see I finished the screwing with the power drill just to make sure that it is tight. Don't be afraid to tight your cooler. Every cooler should be like very securely tied to the backplate. You want pressure. Don't be afraid to put the cooler all the way in, screw it until you can't screw it anymore. Some coolers are different. There are some coolers that you shouldn't really try to screw them too much. If you have some kind of a clip mechanism or something like that, you need to be a little bit careful. If you're not sure, please watch a video for your cooler. You can see that even I did it. With all my experience, it was always best to be safe than sorry after you break something. So On one hand, don't be afraid, but also just be careful. So this is the fan for the cooler, and it has two cables. One of them will be to power the fan, and one of them is will be to power the lights, the ARGB lights, because this fan does have RGB. And this is the clips that holds the fan. It's pretty straightforward. Each cooler, it's a little bit different, but you need to put the clips in the points. And once you put both of them, you take the cooler, try to arrange the cables a little bit. And yeah, you can see here two cables, one for power, one for ARGB. You clip the fan to the cooler. Each cooler will be a little bit different. And now I will connect the fan to power. So this goes CPU fan. And CPU fan usually is located at the top of your motherboard, above the CPU socket. And you can see here two connectors. One of them is AIO pump. So this is for water cooling pump, if you have a pump, and CPU fan if you have air cooling. Okay, I think in our Gigabyte motherboard, I actually have only CPU fan over here, which is, this is the motherboard that we are installing right now. And it doesn't have AIO pump, because this is a cheaper board, it's more budget oriented board. It doesn't mean that you can't use an AIO pump with a board like this. You can, but you just won't be able to plug your pump. You can plug your pump into a system fan connector like this one over here and configure it as a pump. It's not a big deal. But some motherboards just have built-in AIO pump connector. So yeah, here I had a little bit of a bad angle. You couldn't really see how I plugged the cables, but this is the ARGB connector, and now there's something happening here. I don't remember what. I want to make sure that I can fit the cable behind the GPU, because the only ARGB connector in this motherboard is at the bottom. Oh, that's actually very important. Okay, so let me show you an ARGB connector, and again, in every motherboard it will look the same, but it will have different names. So in Gigabyte, they have two connectors, which one of them is 12 volt GRB, I think. I don't know why they say it this way, but this is LED. Okay, they call it LED C, and this is a 4-pin connector. And you have a 3-pin connector. You can see the missing pin right here. This is D-LED, okay? So this is ARGB. And basically the difference between those two is this one is 5 volts, this one is 12 volts. Never, ever, ever, ever plug 12 volt into a 5 volt. You can't plug a 5 volt to a 12 volt because there's a missing pin and it's blocked. It's just not gonna go in. But you can accidentally plug a 12 volt into a 5 volt, and that's very bad. You'll probably end up fry your motherboard or something else. Let me show you from ASUS how it looks like. And you can see here RGB header. Okay, so this is 12 volt 4 pins, and this is 5 volt ARGB header. Okay, this is the more newer standard. ARGB stands for addressable RGB. If you don't know, it means that each LED in your RGB fan can change color and you can set modes for it. RGB means that it has fixed colors and you can't really change the colors and the modes. So you wouldn't find many RGB products these days. This is the newer standard, okay? This is what you want. Now, if you take a look at this ASUS case, ASUS motherboard. It's late. This ASUS motherboard has 4 RGB/ARGB connectors. You can see 2 at the top here, and these both of these are ARGB. Okay, you can see 5 volt and 5 volt with the missing pin, and at the bottom you have 5 volt and a 12 volt. Okay. Now, in our motherboard, I don't have here at the top anything. Okay. See, there is nothing here. The only ARGB plug I have is right here. And this is important because what I do in the video, because the cooler is over here at the top, I need to make sure that I can route the cable under the GPU, because the connector is at the bottom of the board and I can't put it behind because the cable is too short. Okay. So what I did is I took the GPU. Yeah, you see the cable is too short, so I can't route it from the back. I took the GPU and I made sure that I have space here between the GPU and the motherboard, so I can put the cable from the fan over here. Okay. So this is me just taking plastic like stickers out from the card. Okay, and this is yeah, we'll get to the point of the cable, but over here you can see that I take the plastic like covering thingies that you get on your GPU that protect the ports, and I actually put them in the ports of the motherboard. And the reason why I do this, because on the motherboard you also have display ports. You have VGA and HDMI and VGA and VGA, HDMI, display port. And when you install a graphic card, those ports usually are blocked. Means that if you try to plug anything to them, they just not gonna work, because once you have a GPU, the GPU is the one that demands display when giving display, and only the ports on the GPU will work, and on the motherboard they won't work. So what I do as a builder is I cover the ports on the motherboard. I literally take the covering rubber stuff or plastic stuff, whatever it is, and put them on the motherboard to block the ports here. Because a lot of customers, they just don't know about this. They usually don't see the ports at the bottom, and they think they need to plug their display over here. And then they come to me and they like, bro, like my computer doesn't work, it doesn't give display. It's like turning on, but there is no display. And I'm like, did you plug your cable like at the bottom or the top? And he's like, are there connectors at the bottom? He didn't even notice them. Because look, the motherboard, when you look from the top on the case, the motherboard comes first to your eyes, so you think you need to plug it there, right? Again, maybe for some of you it's a little bit more obvious, but most people, they just buy a computer and they just want to plug it and it will work. They don't know about this stuff, so yeah, we are here to tell you. And this is the ARGB, as you can see, with the blocked pin. And I'm sorry that I'm not full screen mode. And yeah, I put the cable and then I've put the GPU, just to make sure that I can route the cable from the back. And sorry for my ugly hands over here. Now I also align the GPU if we are already here. And look, the best tip I can give you about installing a GPU is just be very gentle. You do need to apply a little bit of force, but don't be afraid of it. The odds of you like breaking your GPU is pretty low. like I've seen videos of people who had like people that dropped GPU on the floor, like that bad, and they still worked. Okay, it's usually a very reliable part that it's very hard to destroy. So what you want to do is to make sure that you open the clip. If you take a look on the motherboard, I think you can see that I do it here. You can see that there's a clip over here. Let me show you this on the motherboard picture actually. You can see this clip over here. Make sure you press it down, okay? Because that will open the slot. And the GPU can really go only one way, okay? You have a notch here, and it goes, the long part goes here, the short part goes here. You can't really go wrong with this. You just need to be gentle and slow, and don't be afraid, and enjoy it, because this is the most fun part of building a computer. Putting the most prized possession that you have, which is the GPU, which is the thing that cost you the most money, the thing that you probably spend hours and hours researching on, and just enjoy it. Don't be afraid. I promise you, the odds of you breaking it, it's pretty slim. It's pretty slim. By the way, over here you can see also, because I don't have a lot of space in my case, it's a very narrow case, I kind of put it in like an angle. You can see like this, and I open the clip inside, and I take the cables also, okay, and route them above the GPU. If you remember, when we did the cable management, we calculated where we need to route the cables first. And yeah, we just aligned it very carefully. Look, I'm like double checking, triple checking. You can put your hand behind the case, so you will have more leverage, more counter force. And yeah, and you just slot it in. It's like, it's just fun, guys. Just have fun. Don't be stressed out. It's not my computer, and I'm like super happy because like it's fun. Just fun to build computers, and the most like fun thing for me is like installing a GPU, especially if it's like big, it's heavy, it's powerful, you spend a lot of money on it. I get it, trust me. But yeah, after you install it, you put the screws at the back to hold the GPU. Make sure it won't fall. Make sure it holds. And now we are going to connect the cables. And this is very important because if you remember, we talked about the 4+4 cable that goes right over here, the motherboard. This also has an 8-pin, but this one is not 4+4. This is a 6+2 connector. And a 6+2 connector is used to plug the GPU. A 4+4 is for the motherboard. Please don't mix between the two. Don't mix between the two. Make sure you plug 6+2 into GPU, 4+4 for CPU. I should make a short about that as well. I'm unhinged today. Relax, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, zip ties. Zip ties, yeah, it's important just to tie all your cables. This is very, like, I've seen people don't even do this part. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Some people, they just don't care. I mean, you already spend an hour working on your computer. You just want it to work. But if you do plan to do, okay, that was nice. If you do plan to do any zip ties, any, like, if you planning to like fix cables after you turn on your computer, that's wrong, okay? You should fix all your cables, do all your zip ties before you turn on your computer. The reason why, and I had this happen to me before, okay? I actually have it documented on one of my build guides, that I finished to do all the cable management and I fixed all my cables, and when I went to turn on the computer, one of the fans were disconnected. It got disconnected when I was putting zip ties and doing cable management. So if you turn the computer before you tie all your zip ties, it might work, and then you will go do the zip ties, you will close everything, and then it might not work and you won't understand why. So my tip for this will be, do the cable management before. Don't rush to turn the computer on. Have confidence with the process that you did, that you plugged all the cables in the right connectors, you plugged all the components. Look, 99% of the times when I build computers, they usually turn on the first time. Not because I'm special, not because I'm some kind of a magician, because parts usually work, okay? You might hear some stories about people who have like broken parts arrive and like a fresh new GPU that didn't turn on. Yes, it happens, but that's a very small percentage. And throughout this whole build, you will see that I've never turned anything on. You will see people that are doing a test bench and like plugging the power supply and like taking it out and like then assemble it, then check it again, then do cable management, then turn it on again. And I never do that. It's just a waste of time, especially if you are in a work environment. You shouldn't do that. Plug everything, connect everything, trust yourself, trust the process, turn on. If something doesn't work, you can troubleshoot, but don't waste time. Enjoy the build. That's all I have to say about this. So yeah, over here, I closed the, basically close the case. Take all the screws, close all the little parts. You can see this is the part that, oh, by the way, you can see here that I'm flipping the switch off. This is just good practice, let's call it like that. Because if you plug your cable and the switch on the power supply is turned on, then if you did something not good, the computer might like turn on instantly even if you didn't press it, and some weird stuff like that. So I was like to turn it off, like to plug the cable, then turn it on, then turn the computer. Again, it's something very minor, but it's little stuff like that that you'll get with time. And over here, after I did such good planning with the cables when I was routing them and connecting them, the cable management right now, like honestly, you can just leave it like this. Put the back panel and don't do anything else. You don't have to. But if you want to have a tighter look, this is how I go about cable management. It's a little bit sped up, but I usually take all the thick cables in the middle. I put them all together. Everything that I can shove in the bottom, try to kind of bring everything close to each other. Look, the point for me, at least for cable management, is not to be perfect, but to be practical. And again, because I'm used to do this in a work environment, I try to do this in a way that will not look awful. It's not perfect, but it doesn't waste a lot of time for me, you know. And again, I think the more you will try to do cable management, you will probably increase the chance that you will hurt something. So yeah, it's good enough, right? It's good enough. It's not perfect, but we're not living in a perfect world, so I mean, come on, you're gonna close it in a second, and you will probably never ever see that again, unless you need to change something, which probably will happen like 3 years or so. So I don't get why people are stressed about cable management. For me, it's all about just closing the panel, call it a day, and just turn the computer on. And by the way, you can see that over here, when I close the side panel, I put the computer on its back. And that's because it's more easy to, and it might be different for other cases, but in this case, it's just easier to slide the side panel like this with your hands instead of fighting it when it's standing and all the cables are like smashing your side panel, and it's like you need to fight with it, and then the bottom is not good and the top is not good, and then you like fight with all the side panel. So for me, it's just easier. I put my hands, I use a little bit of force. It's totally okay. Don't be afraid. If you did proper cable management, and again, proper is not perfect, it's just good enough, you should be totally fine. And I hold the side panel, put the screws, finish them with a power drill. You don't have to do this. This is just the way I kind of like to close it all the way in, so the customer won't accidentally open it or something like that. And yeah, it's pretty much done. Now all we have to do is turn on in the computer, make sure everything is working. So I bring my monitor and my keyboard and my mouse and turn on the computer for the first time. Make sure the LED are working, fans are working. I think this system took a little while to post because it is AMD, and AMD sometimes take a little bit of time training the memory and posting. A big moment. Will it post? Man, I remember now filming this. I was so stressed out. Like sorry, I'm holding you, but my brother, my friend's brother was like, bro, I need this computer like done like now. And he was waiting downstairs, and I was like, yeah, bro, let me just check everything is working. And yeah, you can see that I'm like confused. Will it post? It's AMD, it takes time, but yes, it's posting. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh my god, this is so cringe. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot of value out of this video. I know it's like been very long. I've never thought I will do a two-hour video on YouTube. I did live streams that long, but not videos. Look, some final words here. Guys, first of all, if you need any help, feel free to contact me. And if you have any build problems, I'm here to help, okay? Second of all, really don't be afraid. Just do stuff. If you do stuff for the first time, yes, you're not gonna do them perfect. Like, trust me. Look at my videos right on YouTube. I don't think they're great. They're probably terrible. But I do them anyway. So if you build a computer, don't try to be perfect. Just build it. Just enjoy it. Just try to do the best you can. If it doesn't work later, you can troubleshoot. But trust me, most of the time, it will probably work. And you'll probably have fun time. And nothing has to be perfect. But again, thank you for watching. If you stayed this long until the end, I appreciate you so much. Really, I don't think any of this for granted. So thank you a lot for your support. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch up with you later. Bye bye.